Hi, everybody. I hope this video lasts on Facebook, but because apparently there's a glitch, and sometimes at the moment they're cutting out a bit early. But I'm going to go for it anyway. If it does cut out, go to my YouTube channel because I'm also going live there. I wanted to talk about something that comes up a lot. It's about trusting after you've got burned. And you know, when I left a very toxic relationship, and I'd been burnt over and over and over, lied to, cheated on, just burnt. And I came out of that relationship feeling so much fear and just not knowing who I was anymore. I felt like I can't even trust myself, let alone other people. And in a way, what I did was I built up this defense. I thought, you know, it's happened so many times to me. I keep attracting the wrong type of partners who hurt me. I need to protect myself. I need to make sure that I'm very careful about who I trust. But what happens is it's a catch-22, because in your attempt to protect yourself and never be taken advantage of again, you feel like you've got to become more on your guard, trust less. You know, after all, that's exactly how you keep getting in trouble. You trust too much. You open your heart up too soon. And it's the wrong way about it. I mean, we think that what we're doing is trying to protect ourselves, but actually we're not. And what happens is, you know, going back to myself, I thought, you know, my picker is off. Every guy I pick is someone who hurts me. So I've got to be very wary. I've been burnt so many times. I've got to trust less. I've got to, you know, because I don't know how to trust my own judgment, let alone somebody else. I've got to trust less. But what was happening, I then suspected everyone was out to take advantage of me. I went too far the other way, and I went on the defensive. And I thought, I'm never going to let this happen to me again. So I'm just going to be suspicious of everybody. And what happens is, you know, I believed that if I could just toughen up, put up with less, and be on my guard, if you like, I was never, ever going to repeat the pattern ever again. And I would find true love that lasted and didn't hurt. But what really happened was this. I became so battle ready and in that fight mode instead of flight mode that I, for a minute, felt that I had protected myself and as if no one could hurt me again. But it didn't last very long, because what was happening without me realizing was I was cutting myself off from connecting to anybody. I feared conflict, as my fears that they were going to take advantage of me led me to deal with anyone either in a sort of passive way. I'd shut down and I'd push them away because I didn't want to be taken advantage of. Or I went the other way and I got a little bit too aggressive in that flight mode. Or I'd go somewhere in between the two and I'd be passive aggressive, you know, and I was just overcompensating for all the years of hurt and on guard and in that fight mode. And what happened was I didn't realize was I subconsciously, I was contributing to my own isolation and loneliness, because when I had that wall around me, being very wary, having my guard up, having my, you know, fists up ready to fight, I was actually just sending out this energy of don't come near me. Yeah, I'm scared. And then I asked myself one question, which is what would happen if I stopped thinking the whole world was out to get me and I did the exact opposite to what was terrifying me, and I let my guard down just a little? And what would happen if I started to open up, be a little bit vulnerable, reveal myself warts and all? And it was terrifying. I was so scared of people seeing who I really was. I thought they would reject me because I had a huge sense I wasn't good enough. But after a while, I started to find friends I'd isolated myself from started to reconnect to me again when I opened up. And I learned how to assertively communicate without being passive or aggressive. And I did better at work. And I forged deeper connections with people, more meaningful ones. And then what happened was when I started doing that, I started attracting like-minded people into my life, people who warmed more to me as I had let that guard down and open up. And within a year, I also was able to build strong boundaries because I stopped fighting and not trusting and being fearful of life, but started to think, what is good enough for me? What is the life I want to create? And who's the love I want to accept? And within a year, I was able to forge a really loving, beautiful relationship, built the kind of trust with him that only comes from shared vulnerability, because you can't have a deep, loving connection without some form of vulnerability. I started to communicate better at work and have less confrontation, deepen friendships, relax more and fear less, all without being taken advantage of again. And it brought a more enormous peace to me. So I hope that makes sense. Doing exactly what I feared, which was, I was terrified of trusting again. And so many women come to me, and in fact, I've just had a beautiful group call with all my clients, talking with them about this total fear of trusting again, and how actually, if you live in that space of fear, you're going to create exactly what you're fearful of, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you're going to project that fear onto the rest of the world, and guess what's going to show up in your life? Exactly what you fear. And so it is the most terrifying thing to do, to do exactly the opposite what you fear, which is letting that guard down, coming out from behind that wall that you've put up around you as the safe space to protect you from being taken advantage of again. It is a very fine line, I know, and that's why, with my clients, I am helping them navigate through that. One client in particular was so terrified of vulnerability and so terrified of being taken advantage of again, because she had been over and over and over and over again. And I said to her, but you see what's happening without you realizing it is this wall you've built up, this I can't trust myself, therefore I can't trust anyone else. I said, it's such a defensive barrier, and how you're now reacting is you're in that fight mode. And I said, actually what's happening is you're not only pushing people away, but you're not allowing them to connect with you because you're ready for a fight. And, while you think everything, other people are judging you and wanting to not get too close to you, what if it's possible that you're not letting them get close to you either? So it is a very fine line, and to gradually, over the weeks of working together, I showed her how to drop that barrier, be vulnerable, but in a way that's associated with building strong boundaries, self-worth, knowing who you are, so that you can do that without getting taken advantage of. You can also give off a very clear signal that I am somebody that is not going to allow you to take advantage of me. So it goes hand in hand. You know, you need to be able to repel the people who are going to take advantage of you, but you don't want to go so far the other way that in your trying to repel them, that barrier is completely pushing anyone who's going to be good to you away. And it is a fine line, but it is possible. And if you live your life constantly fearing, how can I trust myself, let alone anybody else? Therefore, I'm going to be in that defensive mode, have my guard up, be wary about people, trust people less, then you're never going to let anybody in. And you might miss out on the chance of the greatest love you could ever possibly have. I nearly did, because I was pushing my husband away like really badly when I first met him. So I hope that's helped. And if you are struggling with this, then please do watch my free webinar, How to Recover from Toxic Relationships, fall back in love with your life and yourself, and never settle for anything less than you deserve ever again. You know, it feels like you're stuck behind that wall. You might not even know there's a wall that you've built around yourself. You know, my client had no idea. She thought, you know, she was saying to me, why does everybody treat me like this? But when I shone a mirror and held a mirror up to her, and I said, well, let me show you what's happening from your point. Is it possible that you're also pushing everybody away? The light bulb went off. And now what I've helped her find is that beautiful, warm woman who's true to herself, who's also so strong in her worth and boundaries that she doesn't need that wall around her. She doesn't need that barrier or to trust less, be on her guard more, because she knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and what her boundaries are. So if anyone comes near her that's like that, well, she'll know immediately they're not good enough for me and walk away. And so it's a completely different perspective. You know, living your life in total fear that how can I trust anybody behind a wall that you've built around yourself? Or understanding how to be vulnerable without fear, true to who you are, knowing what you want and what's good enough for you, choosing the love you want. I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments below if you are struggling with this, if you're really fearful of trusting and how that's impacting you. You know, it leads to a very lonely life if you feel I can never trust again after getting burnt. And please do, if that is you, look for the link in the description below for my free webinar, How to Recover from Toxic Relationships, fall back in love with yourself, and never settle for anything less than you deserve again. All right, I'll see you in my next video, and thank you everyone for joining me today. Bye for now. And I'll just look at where I can turn the button off. Have a great day, everybody, wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.